The hidden key to the mind's greatest power. There is a hidden key, one so powerful, so life-altering, that it can shift the very way you see the world. It has existed for centuries, quietly shaping the minds of the most enlightened individuals. It has built empires. It has turned suffering into triumph. It has taken the ordinary and made them legendary. But few ever grasp it, not because it is hidden, but because most are too blind to see it, too distracted, too consumed by the noise of the world to recognize the silent power that has been within their reach all along. It is not wealth. It is not intelligence. It is not influence. No, it is something far more profound, something most overlook, until it is too late. It is gratitude, a secret known only to the wise. For those who have unlocked it, life is no longer the same. They see beyond the surface, beyond the distractions, beyond the illusions that keep most of humanity trapped in a cycle of suffering. While others complain, they smile. While others fear, they remain at peace. While others chase endlessly, never satisfied, they stand still, and yet, they have everything. Because when the mind surrenders to gratitude, wisdom follows like a flood. But how? How can something as simple as gratitude unlock the deepest wisdom of the human mind? Why do so few realize its power? And most importantly, what happens when you unlock it? For a moment, pause. Look around you. What do you see? Perhaps a room, a chair, a screen. But look deeper, beyond the objects, beyond the things that have become so familiar that you no longer notice them. Somewhere in this world, right now, someone is dreaming of the very life you are living. The air you breathe, the food you eat, the bed you sleep in. Things so ordinary to you, yet to someone else, they would be a miracle. But the mind is cunning. It plays a trick. It convinces you that what you have is not enough, that there is always more to chase, more to achieve, more to desire. And so, you run. Day after day, year after year, the chase never ends. More money, more recognition, more possessions. And yet, the more you obtain, the less it seems to satisfy you. This is the illusion of lack, a carefully woven trap that has kept humanity enslaved for centuries. It is why kings who had everything still craved for more. Why emperors fell into madness despite their power. Why billionaires who own the world still feel empty inside. They never unlocked gratitude, because had they done so, they would have realized the truth that so many never see, that the key to unlocking life's greatest wisdom is not in getting more. It is in seeing what is already there. Wisdom that has been with us all along. There is a story, an old one, whispered across generations, yet ignored by most. A man, wealthy beyond imagination, stands in the grandest palace. His servants obey his every command. His table overflows with food. His treasures could buy nations. And yet, he does not smile. A restless mind. A troubled heart. He stares at the walls of his palace, yet all he sees is emptiness. Not far from him, in a small village, a woman sits beneath a tree. She has nothing. No wealth. No status. No possessions. Only a simple meal in her hands. And yet, she laughs. Her eyes glow with a peace that no money could buy. Her spirit radiates a wisdom that the wealthy man cannot comprehend. She has nothing, yet she has everything. Why? Because she sees what he cannot. While he focuses on what is missing, she sees what is present. While he clings to what he lacks, she embraces what she has. And in that simple shift of perspective, she has unlocked the wisdom of the universe. What happens when gratitude awakens? But what does this truly mean? Is gratitude merely a fleeting emotion? A polite thank you spoken without thought? No, it is something far greater. Something deeper. Something that rewires the very structure of the human mind. Science has only begun to scratch the surface of what gratitude does to the brain. The pathways of fear weaken. The circuits of clarity strengthen. Stress dissolves. Intuition heightens. And the world begins to look different. The wise do not see more than others. They simply see differently. And what they see is the hidden abundance that has always been there. A person who embodies gratitude does not need to chase, because what they seek is already within them. They do not fear loss, because they understand that nothing was ever truly missing. And so, they move differently, think differently, speak differently, and those who encounter them can feel it. It is an energy, a presence, a wisdom that cannot be faked, cannot be taught, cannot be imitated. It can only be unlocked. And now the question is, will you unlock it? The illusion of lack. Everywhere you look, there is an unspoken race, a quiet war for more. More money, more status, more recognition. The world has conditioned us to believe that what we have is never enough. And so we chase, endlessly, blindly, driven not by true desire, but by an invisible force we barely understand. We run faster, work harder, accumulate more. But no matter how much we gain, the feeling remains the same. The hunger never fades. The emptiness never fills. But what if this very chase is the thing keeping us from wisdom? What if the secret to clarity, to purpose, to true intelligence, was never about having more, but seeing what is already there? Two lives, two realities. Right now, in some towering mansion, a man stands, surrounded by everything the world told him he needed. Expensive suits, designer watches, a fleet of cars in his garage. He owns islands, corporations, influence. He has it all, yet deep inside, something feels missing. And so, he fills the void the only way he knows how, by buying more. A new luxury home, a faster car, a larger empire. But no matter how much he acquires, the emptiness lingers, like a whisper in the back of his mind. Meanwhile, in a small village, miles away from the noise of the world, an old woman sits outside her tiny home. She owns nothing. No car, no mansion, no savings account filled with millions. Just a simple clay bowl of rice, a warm breeze on her face, and a sky full of stars above her. And yet, she smiles. A deep, unshakable smile. A smile of peace, of knowing, of something that cannot be bought, only understood. What does she know that he does not? The false promise of more. Since birth, we are taught a silent promise: more is better. More will fulfill you. More will bring happiness. And so we chase the higher paycheck, the bigger home, the next great achievement. But no one ever stops to ask, if more was truly the answer, then why are those who have the most often the most lost? Because more was never the solution. It was the distraction. The greatest minds in history, the ones who saw beyond illusion, all arrived at the same realization: the race for more is a race with no finish line. And those who run it never win. Because they are running in the wrong direction. The blindness of the untrained mind. The untrained mind sees only what is missing. It walks into a room and immediately notices what is not there. It looks at a bank account and fixates on what is lacking. It stares at its own life and sees only what could be better. And yet, across the world, those with far less find a joy that the ungrateful mind will never understand. Why? Because they have trained their minds to see abundance where others see emptiness. They have escaped the illusion of lack. They have unlocked the wisdom that so many will chase their entire lives, yet never find. The shortcut to more. Here is the paradox that changes everything. Those who chase more never feel they have enough. But those who master gratitude feel as though they already have everything. And here lies the key. Once you feel like you already have everything, you begin to attract more without effort. Success flows to those who no longer chase it. Opportunities arise for those who are no longer desperate for them. The world opens its doors to those who have mastered the simple yet elusive art of gratitude. The wise do not run. They receive. Because they have understood the truth that most never see: what you appreciate, appreciates. The silent war for your mind. But the world does not want you to know this. Because an ungrateful mind is an easily controlled mind. Entire industries profit from your dissatisfaction. Marketing, advertising, corporations, they thrive on convincing you that you are not enough, that you do not have enough, that you must chase more to be complete. And so, the war for your mind begins. A war you never even knew you were fighting. But here, in this moment, you are waking up. And once the illusion is broken, it cannot hold you any longer. A simple choice that changes everything. And so now, the choice is yours. Will you continue running, chasing shadows, climbing a ladder that leads nowhere? Or will you stop, right here, right now, and see what is already around you? Because the moment you do, everything changes. Gratitude is not something you find at the end of the road. It is the road. And once you walk it, wisdom will follow. The science of gratitude and the brain. Modern science has begun to unravel what ancient wisdom has whispered for centuries. The human brain, when trained in gratitude, undergoes a transformation. For thousands of years, mystics, sages, and philosophers have spoken of an unseen shift, a way of thinking that unlocks a deeper intelligence, a profound clarity, a wisdom that seems beyond human reach. And now, science is beginning to catch up. The neurology of gratitude, rewiring the mind. Inside your brain, hidden within the billions of neurons that form your thoughts, is a system designed to either enslave you or set you free. Neuroscientists have found that when a person actively practices gratitude, something remarkable happens. The neural pathways of scarcity weaken. The circuits of fear fade. The regions of the brain associated with stress and anxiety shrink. And in their place, something new begins to grow. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for higher thinking, decision-making, and self-awareness, activates. The amygdala, the center of fear and stress, becomes quieter. And with this shift, perspective changes. Those who train their minds in gratitude do not just feel different, they become different. Their perception sharpens. Their emotional intelligence deepens. Their ability to navigate life's chaos transforms. The hidden power of gratitude, accessing a higher intelligence. But it doesn't stop there. Studies show that gratitude enhances the brain's ability to detect patterns, to make better decisions, to trust instinct where others hesitate. It strengthens intuition, giving those who practice it an almost uncanny ability to know things before they happen. It is as if their minds have tapped into a deeper current of understanding, a wisdom that the ungrateful mind is blind to. And this raises a question that changes everything. Could it be that the greatest thinkers, the wisest sages, the most enlightened beings, were not born with wisdom, but acquired it through gratitude? The unseen connection, gratitude and the genius mind. History is filled with minds that saw what others could not. Da Vinci, Tesla, Einstein, the great minds of philosophy, innovation, and art. What separated them from the ordinary? Was it intelligence alone? Or was it something deeper? Einstein once said, 100 times a day, I remind myself that my inner and outer life depends on the labors of others, and I must exert myself in order to give in the same measure as I have received. A statement of gratitude. A statement of awareness. A glimpse into the mind of a man who saw beyond himself. And he was not alone. The greatest minds did not merely think differently, they perceived differently. They saw abundance where others saw limitation. They saw opportunity where others saw failure. They saw the unseen connections that others overlooked. And that perception was not just intelligence. It was gratitude. Why the ungrateful mind remains blind. Now consider the opposite. The ungrateful mind. The mind that focuses on what is missing, what is lacking, what is wrong. Psychologists have found that chronic dissatisfaction rewires the brain in the opposite direction. The neural pathways of stress strengthen. The circuits of anxiety expand. The ability to think clearly, to reason, to recognize solutions, weakens. A mind conditioned in lack cannot see opportunity, even when it stands directly in front of them. It cannot recognize wisdom, even when it is spoken to them. It cannot access its own intelligence, because it is trapped in survival. And so, those who lack gratitude remain blind. Blind to solutions. Blind to abundance. Blind to the very wisdom that could free them. How gratitude unlocks perception. But for those who awaken to gratitude, the entire game changes. The world does not change, but the way they see it does. What once seemed impossible now feels within reach. What once seemed like problems now look like opportunities. What once caused suffering now reveals lessons. Because the truth is simple, yet life-altering. Gratitude does not just change how you feel. It changes how you see. And the moment your perception changes, your life follows. The choice before you. And so, the question is no longer whether gratitude works. Science has proven that it does. History has proven that it does. The greatest minds who ever lived have demonstrated that it does. The question now is, will you use it? Will you continue to see only what is missing? Or will you train your mind to see what has always been there? A pause, the voice softens, inviting. Because if you do, if you master gratitude, then wisdom, clarity, and success will no longer be things you chase. They will be things you attract. And once that happens, there is no limit to what your mind can unlock. The ancient teachings of gratitude. Long before neuroscience could explain it, before psychology could study it, ancient civilizations built their philosophies around it. They knew what modern minds have forgotten. The Stoics called it amor fati, a love of one's fate, a deep acceptance of all that life brings. To them, gratitude was not just for the good, but for everything. Every hardship, every loss, every trial. Because they understood, to resist life is to suffer. But to embrace it is to be free. The Buddhists called it mudita, not just gratitude, but a joy for what is. A happiness that does not depend on possessions, status, or control. A joy that arises simply from being. The Sufis, the Zen masters, the sages of Africa, the wisdom keepers of the Americas, all spoke of it in different tongues, yet with the same message. Gratitude is the gateway to true wisdom. A wisdom few understand. There is a reason why the elders of old spoke in riddles, why they smiled even when things fell apart, why their wisdom carried a weight that cannot be learned in books. They understood something that most overlook. To be grateful is to see life as it is, not as we demand it to be. The ungrateful mind fights reality. It resists, it rejects, it complains. But the wise, they do not fight life. They walk with it, flow with it, learn from it, and in doing so, they see what others do not. The forgotten rituals of gratitude. Across the world, in cultures untouched by modern distractions, gratitude is not a thought, it is a practice. In some African tribes, the morning begins with a whispered thank you, not to anyone in particular, but to life itself, to the breath, to the sun, to the ancestors who came before. Among the Native Americans, gratitude is woven into every prayer, every harvest, every story told around the fire. They do not wait for abundance to feel grateful. They feel grateful, and abundance follows. And in the ancient temples of the East, monks wake before the sun, not to ask for more, but to express thanks for what already is. They understand what the modern mind has forgotten. Gratitude is not a reaction. It is a state of being. Why the modern world rejects gratitude. But in today's world, gratitude is seen as weakness, as naivety, as something only spoken about in self-help books and fleeting moments of inspiration. Why? Because gratitude is freedom, and a free mind cannot be controlled. A person who is truly grateful does not crave more. They do not desperately chase. They are not easily manipulated. And so, the world teaches dissatisfaction instead. And yet, those who break free from this conditioning, those who rediscover the wisdom of the ancients, they find something priceless. They find peace. Consider this, the average person complains 15 to 30 times a day. Each complaint is a signal to the mind that something is missing. And the mind believes it. The more one complains, the more one reinforces the illusion of lack. And the further one drifts from wisdom. But now, Imagine a mind that refuses to complain. A mind that finds gratitude even in difficulty. A mind that does not resist life, but embraces it. This mind does not fight the storm. It learns to dance in the rain. Those who transcended through gratitude. History is filled with stories of those who had nothing, yet saw everything. Nelson Mandela. Imprisoned for 27 years. Stripped of his freedom. Locked away, forgotten by the world. And yet, he emerged, not bitter, not broken, but wiser, stronger. A man who had learned to see beyond his suffering. Because even in his darkest moments, he found gratitude. Gratitude for the lessons. Gratitude for the strength it built. Gratitude for life itself. Viktor Frankl. A man who endured the unthinkable. A survivor of the Holocaust. A witness to horrors beyond imagination. And yet, in the depths of despair, he discovered a truth that would change the world. He wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." And so he did. He found meaning in suffering. He found wisdom through gratitude. He discovered that even in the worst conditions imaginable, one thing remained within his control: his perception. These men were not handed wisdom. They were not born enlightened. They discovered it by shifting their minds from lack to appreciation. The blindness of complaints versus the awakening of gratitude. Now, think about this. What if every complaint was replaced with gratitude? What if, instead of "I have to go to work," you said, "I get to go to work"? What if, instead of "I don't have enough money," you said, "I have more than enough for this moment"? What if, instead of seeing problems, you saw lessons? Because here is the ultimate truth. The moment you stop complaining, you stop suffering. The moment you stop resisting, you start awakening. Gratitude is not just about feeling good. It is about seeing clearly. And when you see clearly, you realize you were never lacking to begin with. Seeing what others cannot. And then, it happens. Slowly at first. Almost imperceptible. But with each moment of gratitude, the mind begins to shift. At first, it is subtle, a clarity that wasn't there before. A calm that lingers in moments that used to bring frustration. The small things, the ones that once went unnoticed, suddenly hold profound meaning. But then, the shift deepens. And what happens next is extraordinary. The unseen patterns of the universe. When gratitude is mastered, the mind undergoes a transformation. Patterns that were once invisible become clear. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to be in the right place at the right time? How they move through life with an almost effortless understanding, as if they can see beyond the surface? It is not luck. It is not coincidence. It is perception. The grateful mind sees what the ungrateful mind cannot. Opportunities that once seemed distant become obvious. Answers that once felt out of reach become instinct. The wisdom of the world flows effortlessly into the grateful mind, because gratitude removes the noise that blinds most people. It is as if the universe whispers its secrets to those who listen with gratitude. The world no longer feels chaotic. It feels intentional. To most, life seems random, unpredictable, a series of struggles, accidents, and misfortunes. But to those who have unlocked the power of gratitude, the world no longer feels chaotic. It feels intentional. They see the symmetry in what once seemed unfair, the lessons hidden in what once felt meaningless. They do not fight against the currents of life. They move with them, understanding that everything, every event, every encounter, every loss, is part of something far greater than the mind can comprehend. And so, they stop resisting. And in doing so, they awaken. The eyes that see, the mind that knows. Think of the wisest person you have ever known. Maybe it was an elder, a mentor, someone who carried an energy unlike anyone else. Someone whose very presence made you feel at peace. There is a reason why their words carry weight. Why their presence alone seems to hold an unshakable calm. It is because they see differently. Where most see obstacles, they see openings. Where most see suffering, they see transformation. Where most see endings, they see beginnings. They do not fear what is to come, because they see the beauty in what already is. And that is the greatest wisdom of all. Can you unlock it? But here lies the ultimate question. Can you do it? Can you break free from the conditioned mind, from the endless craving for more? From the illusion that happiness lies somewhere in the future? From the belief that something is missing? Because right now, in this very moment, the truth stands before you. You have already been given everything you need. The breath in your lungs, the light in your eyes, the beating of your heart, steady, unbroken, carrying you forward. But can you see it? Truly see it? Because if you can shift your mind from what is missing to what is present, from what you lack to what you have, then something extraordinary will happen. Wisdom will not be something you must search for. It will be something that finds you. Will you take the first step? But here's the thing. Knowing this is not enough. Many will hear these words and do nothing. They will return to old habits, to old thoughts, to old ways of seeing the world. They will fall back into the illusion of lack, because that is what they have been trained to do. But a few, a rare few, will take the first step. They will pause, right now, and take a breath. They will feel the life within them. And they will say, with no hesitation, "Thank you." And for those few, everything will begin to change. The key has always been within your reach. But only you can turn it. If this message resonated with you, if you are ready to unlock the power of gratitude and awaken the wisdom within you, then take action now. Begin today. Just one moment of gratitude, right now. And then another. And another. Until it becomes the way you see the world. And if you want to continue this journey with us, if you want to go deeper, to explore more truths hidden in plain sight, then subscribe now. Because the mind that seeks wisdom will always find it.